the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rob Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Philippine and U.S. troops launched first day of community health mission in Bulacan. Philippine Army pays tribute to Valor in 74th Battle of Yuldong anniversary. International human rights team to monitor midterm elections amid the incidents of political violence. Pilot implementation of 20 per kilo rice program to begin in Visayas.
Good day everyone, as well as our troops at Camp Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. Today's Thursday, April 24, and we will bring you the latest news from the armed forces and other information around the Philippines. In behalf of Rolf Suzon, this is Jai Simbahon for AFP Community News.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
Philippine and U.S. soldiers successfully kicked off the first day of their community health engagement, also known as the Medical Civic Action Program, yesterday, April 23, in Barangay Pulong, Sampaloc, Doña Remedios, Trinidad, Bulacan. A total of 252 residents received free medical attention, including general and cardiology consultations, blood glucose testing, and even circumcision services. The effort also extended to dental care, where troops performed 56 dental surgeries, 1 dental filling, 30 cleanings, and 10 fluoride treatments to improve oral health in the community. Moreover, beneficiaries were also provided with free clothing and meals, underscoring the humanitarian spirit behind the mission. This outreach is part of the Balikatan 40-2025, highlighting the continued cooperation between the Philippines and the United States, not only in defense, but in service to local communities.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And in a solemn and heartfelt ceremony, the Philippine Army paid tribute to the bravery and sacrifice of Filipino soldiers in the Battle of Yuldong, as it marked the 74th anniversary of the historic event at the Korean War Memorial Pylon in Libingan ng mga Bayani, Fort Bonifacio, Taguig City. Leading the wreath-laying ceremony was Army Commanding General Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido, who honored both the living veterans and those who made the ultimate sacrifice during the Korean War. The commemoration highlighted the heroism of the 10th, 20th, 19th, 14th, and 2nd Battalion combat teams who fought alongside the Philippine Expeditionary Force to Korea against Chinese Communist and North Korean forces. The family and descendants of the soldiers also graced the ceremony and received the CGPA's appreciation for keeping the memories and heroism of the soldiers alive.
DWDD Armed Forces News. Armed Forces Radio.
For other updates, let us hear the details about Apayao's Balikloob program welcomes 2 former rebels. Each received 500,000 pesos incentives. Go ahead for the details, Joanne.
2 former rebels pledged allegiance to the government during the Balikloob program of the provincial government of Apayao, dubbed Celebrating Oneness, Progress, and Unrelenting Nationalism, or COPUN, held at the Old Capitol in Barangay Poblacion, Cabugao, Apayao on April 22, 2025. The 2 former rebels surrendered to the folds of the law and renounced their support for the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, National Democratic Front. They also received cash incentives from the provincial government of Apayao amounting to 500,000 pesos each. The cash assistance is provided for under Executive Order Number 22, signed by Governor Bulot, allowing the provincial government to utilize its funds to ensure the maintenance of peace and order. Executive Order Number 22 entitles any rebel from the CPP-NPA who voluntarily surrenders to the provincial government of Apayao and totally denounces his communist affiliation. Kopon is coined from the Isnag term that means friend, and is a way for the Apayos to support the peace and order programs and the fight against insurgency of the national government. This is John Sagak reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines Office for Strategic Studies and Strategy Management celebrated its
Balabak, Palawan. Balikan 40-2025 aims to enhance coordination and interoperability between the Philippines and U.S. forces. The exercise will run from April 21 to May 9, 2025 across various locations including Northern Luzon, Central Luzon, and Palawan.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And the Armed Forces of the Philippines, in collaboration with the United States Forces, continue their efforts under the Engineering Civic Action Program, or ENCAP, with ongoing renovations at Pulong Sampaloc Elementary School in Doña Remedios, Trinidad, Bulacan. Troops from both nations have joined forces to enhance the school's facilities, currently focusing on plumbing, ceiling installation, steel grate fabrication, concrete walkway construction, and formwork for drainage systems. The renovation project, which began on April 15, is now 18.2% in progress and is scheduled for full completion by May 7, 2025. This initiative is part of Balikatan 40-2025, underscoring the partnership between the Philippines and the United States, not only in military cooperation but also in empowering local communities through education and infrastructure support.
DWDD Armed Forces News. Armed Forces Radio.
On the other line, let us hear more from Meljoy about USMC Assistant Commandant visits Basa Air Base amidst Balikatan 25 to operations. Meljoy?
Yes, Jai, the 5th Fighter Wing proudly welcomed General Christopher J. Mahone, USMC Assistant Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, during his official visit to Basa Air Base, Florida Blanca, Pampanga, in the midst of Exercise Balikatan 2025. General Mahone was received with full honors by Brigadier General Leo A. Fontanilla, Philippine Air Force, Wing Commander, 5th Fighter Wing. The visit featured a guided tour of operational facilities and static displays showcasing the wing's combat readiness and interoperability with U.S. forces under ongoing joint training missions. The visit underscores the strong participation of both the United States Marine Corps and the Philippine Air Force in Balikatan 2025, one of the largest and most comprehensive bilateral exercises in the Indo-Pacific. It reflects the shared commitment to enhancing joint operations, strengthening regional security, and deepening military cooperations under the Philippine-United States Mutual Defense Treaty. As allied forces continue to train side by side, engagements like this reaffirm the enduring alliance and a unified vision for a free, open, and secure Indo-Pacific. This is Meljoy Nesho Arroco reporting for AFP Community News. One AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Meljoy.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And the Philippine Air Force names its new Chief of Office ceremony for the Office of the Chief Nurse Air Force and the Office of the Chief Air Force Dental Services at Colonel Jesus Villamor Air Base, Pasay City, yesterday, April 23, 2025. The joint assumption was presided by Chief of Air Staff Major General Ulysses S. Marquez, Philippine Air Force, wherein Colonel Harvenio Omar E. Villena assumed the position of Chief, succeeding Lieutenant Colonel Reginald G. Obispo. Meanwhile, Colonel Darlene D. Flores officially assumed as Chief OCNAF. In his speech, Major General Marquez congratulated the newly appointed chiefs, encouraging them to uphold the highest standards of professionalism and foster a culture of continuous development within their respective offices.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And for our national news,
DWDD National News.
the International Coalition for Human Rights in the Philippines has sent an international observer mission to monitor the upcoming elections. This comes amid rising concerns over poll violence. Citing data from the Commission on Elections, ICHRP said that there are 46 incidents of political violence between January 12 and April 11. ICHRP Vice Chairman Patricia Lison said that the Philippines has long been a hotspot for election-related violence, particularly in rural areas. That is why they are deploying IOM to support Filipinos in protecting their civil and political rights.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
Now let us hear a report on the ground about former rebels take oath for their peace during amnesty orientation in Cavite, Laguna. Go on for the details, Jess.
In a strong push for national unity and peace, the 2nd Infantry and Fire Brigade, in partnership with the Office of the Presidential Assistant for Peace, Reconciliation and Unity, and the National Amnesty Commission, held an amnesty orientation and former rebel engagement activity in Cavite, Laguna. The event aimed to guide 30 former rebels, beneficiaries of the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, through the amnesty process and support their integration into mainstream society. The program included discussion on eligibility, responsibilities under the amnesty program, and the role of the amnesty boards. A meaningful oath-taking ceremony was held as a symbol of the FR's renewed commitment to peace. In closing, the 2nd Brigade Commander, Brigadier General Ronald Jas Alcudia, underscored the role of reconciliation, stating peace is built through reconciliation, compassion, and inclusivity. This activity reflects the whole of nation approach in action, promoting peace, healing, and unity across the country. This is Jess from Solcom reporting for AFP Community News 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jess.
DWDD National News.
And the campaign promise of President Ferdinand Marcos to lower the price of rice to as low as 20 pesos will soon be a reality with a planned trial run in the Visayas region. Department of Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tsu Laurel Jr. announced this as a press briefing in Cebu City following a closed-door meeting with the President and 12 governors. Participating local government units will oversee the program's pilot, which could start as early as next week. The DH chief said the selling of 20 pesos per kilo rice has long been planned as a short-term program, but the President has given the directive to formulate this to be sustainable and to continue until 2028.
DWDD National News.
And the Department of Education Secretary Sonny Angara said a DepEd election task force would be established to provide real-time incident response for teachers manning precincts during the May 12 midterm polls. Angara explained that the election task force is built like a command center with clear roles, dedicated personnel, and the authority to act fast when our people in need. The task force's command center would be fully operational from May 11 to 13, with its headquarters in Makati City. The Commission on Elections, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine National Police, and DepEd were among the signatories of an interagency memorandum of agreement ensuring a safe, transparent, and peaceful electoral process.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
We have a report coming in from Leonor about Philippines-Indonesia strengthen defense ties. Leonor?
Good day, everyone. The Philippines and Indonesia continue to strengthen both countries' defense ties during Minister of Defense of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Jafri Samsudin, visit to Secretary of National Defense Gilberto Teodoro Jr. yesterday. The engagement follows the meeting between President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Indonesian President of Prabowo Subianto during courtesy call at Malacanang Palace last September 20, 2024. Both defense ministers discussed security development in the Indo-Pacific region and affirmed their shared interests as archipelagic nations. Meanwhile, meeting also highlighted ongoing and future cooperation under existing defense agreements, including logistics, defense industry collaboration, and personnel exchanges, and explored areas of cooperation, including enhancement of joint operations between armed forces. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Romeo Brawner Jr. also met with his counterpart, Commander of the Indonesian National Armed Forces, General Agus Subianto. This is Leonor Tanap reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Leonor.
DWDD National News.
Russian ambassador to the Philippines, Marat Pavlov, sought to improve the economic relations between the two countries. Pavlov said the Russian-Philippine cooperation is very important as it means ensuring stability in the Indo-Pacific. He added that it's up to the Philippine side to consider their openness and to propose something concrete. The Russian ambassador mentioned that possible areas of cooperation are in agriculture and nuclear energy sector.
DWDD National National News.
The Philippines and the United Arab Emirates signed an agreement on security cooperation. The agreement is expected to deepen bilateral relations and foster mutual commitment to public safety and national security. The Department of Interior and local